Hi everyone. So this is going to be a brief demo on the functionality of the nonprofit case management package in which you will be purchasing from Salesforce, in which you might be purchasing from Salesforce. Now, just to give a little bit of backstory, nonprofit case management works best with Salesforce's existing program management module, which sits on top of NPSB or the nonprofit success pack. This is just because it already works with programs when you're talking about intakes and case plans and things like that. So it does just fit together. These definitely go hand in hand together during an implementation. But as I said, the focus for today is case management. But before I go into case management, I think I'm going to go over a brief overview of the program management module in one of my demo orgs. So as you can see here in Salesforce, we are in a program management app. And here on the homepage, you'll just see a few things that perhaps program managers or daily staff would like to see. This is pretty standard. We have a dashboard on the main section here. We have tasks on the right-hand side, some recent items in which you can quickly navigate to records. And down below, you have some recent sessions of any services or service deliveries that have happened recently. Just a little bit on dashboards. Dashboards are basically visualized reports grouped together. So you can see that these different tiles are actually different reports, and they are visualized in either a tabular format, just straight up number, or in a chart. And all of this data is pulled from different records that are created, such as different programs and program engagements, which is what happens when you attach a contact or a participant to a specific program. So here you can see that, for example, right now in my demo org in career services, we have one participant in there. In our food pantry, currently we have 4 program engagements, so 4 participants engaging there. Some other things that you can look at is you can see, a report of client records with a missing phone number. And again, this can be tailored to your needs. So if you're, tracking mostly emails, you could say, tailor this to client records with missing emails or any other data points that you need to capture to enforce that data integrity and data quality there. Now, going into the actual programs themselves, I'm not going to go too deep into this. So for this fictitious nonprofit that I am, let's say that one of our programs is a food pantry program. So I'm going to navigate to the programs tab up here and click into the food pantry record, which is a placeholder for the program. Up at the top, you'll be able to see the highlights panel, and you can see that it currently is an active program. I left the start date and end dates blank just because it is an ongoing program and they don't have any hard dates to start and end. I gave a short description, short summary, and then down below on the left-hand side, you can see there's a little bit more information explaining what this program targets and what they do. Now, the important parts are on the right-hand side. So under each program, we understand that each program can have multiple services, such as for this one service that they provide is just distributing produce and fresh food to individuals. And another service, which is a slightly different type of service, is offering free meals at a cafeteria. So we can see that free meals here. And you can see the unit of measurement that we measure this, that we want to capture, is a number of meals. And in terms of actual produce and fresh food distribution, we change that unit of measurement to items distributed. Down below, these are called program engagements. This is a junction object between the contact and the program. So basically, when you add a client such as Jim Halpert to this program, it's going to create a program engagement. For example, Jim Halpert, and we can see that he was added on June 23rd to the food pantry program there. And so this is where you're going to be able to track who exactly is engaged in each program. And further down below, we do have another related list here called program cohorts. Now, we understand that some programs can have multiple intakes per year, whether that be seasonal or sectioned out by different demographics or location. You can group program participants into cohorts here down below. So when I click into this, you'll see a different grouping of a number of participants there. So most importantly, let's go into the services. Let's see how we track, the fresh food distribution service. So when we click into that, it's a very similar layout. We have the header up top, the basic information on the left-hand side of, linking the program, the description, and, the different statuses that it can be under. Now on the right-hand side, again, we do have a few different related lists. If it was a scheduled service, so for example, if it does have reoccurring workshops or things like that, we could do that. But since these are more one-off deliveries, all we see here is service deliveries. And what service deliveries are, they are basically one-to-one deliveries of a specific service to a specific client. So for example, under the first delivery that we see here, we can see that this was a delivery of food to Tom Cadota on September 1st. And we can see that down below here, we can see that we delivered 5 items to Tom. Again, a week later, we delivered another 5. And then down below, you can see that we delivered to a few different other people. And again, once you do click into these, it goes into specific records that details out a bit more details about that. Now, as you may have remembered, I said that you could also set service schedules for recurring sessions of programs or services, I should say. So for example, free meals, let's say free meals has a service schedule of every Tuesday we provide free lunch to those in need at a specific cafeteria. What you can do is create a service schedule there. And what happens when you create a service schedule is that it'll automatically, depending on how you set it to be like weekly, monthly, bi-weekly, or however you like, it'll automatically create these sessions for you under service sessions under the service schedule. So under that, you can see that every Tuesday, we have a specific service. And every time a service is completed, it'll mark its status as complete. And it'll mark them as delivered to these specific participants who are attending these. So for example, if we go into a specific session, we can track attendance on the right-hand side here that Jim Halpert and Pam Beasley Halpert were in attendance, or I should say that only Jim was. Because you can also track their attendance here. So Pam Beasley, we marked her as an unexcused absence. She just, she signed up, but she didn't attend, didn't show up to the program. And again, on the left-hand side, as a similar layout, just some general information. So I'm not going to go too much further into program management because we can go down into quite a rabbit hole there. As I said earlier, the point of this is to show off the case management piece that really connects well with this. And basically that talks about people going through the process of intakes, setting goals, incidents, case notes, and showing off a little bit more of the reporting capabilities in there. So I'm going to hop into a different org right now, and I'm going to hop into an org with case management in it. So again, this case management package works really well with the previous package that I just showed, program management, just because it does leverage the same or similar configuration relating to the same objects, such as programs and service deliveries. But yeah, so as a case manager, we can see that on my home page here, and of course this is customizable to however you'd like, but by default on the case manager homepage, you can see a nice little welcome message. You can see a little picture if you upload a profile picture there. On the right hand side, you have a few actions to create a new contact or client, if you will. You can go to all the notes that you have, and you can view your program engagements and see, which of my contacts are engaging in which programs there. On the left-hand side here, you can see if you have any scheduled events in Salesforce, they'll show up here in your calendar. And again, any recent events you can choose to see here for recent sessions. Sorry. And down below, we can see any incidents, which is actually record type on the case object, incidents that have happened with specific participants. So for example, right now, Meredith had a peanut allergic reaction in our cafeteria, which is not great. And we did want to record that just to make sure that incident was recorded. And down below, we also created an incident for a no-show for Joe Williams at a workshop. Now on the main side, you can see a bunch of different tasks. So in Salesforce, you can create tasks for yourself and others by assigning it to another user. And you can see I do have 8 overdue tasks here, such as send agreement to Sean or send Penny a thank you for volunteering. And down below, you can see tasks sorted by due date, which is like, due today or due tomorrow. All right, so let's go into the whole intake process. So let's say that we get referrals from partner organizations into our organization, and they get referred to a specific program. So the way that's captured in Salesforce is through something called the case object. So I'm going to go to the cases tab right now, and let's say that I just received a new referral. So I'm going to select new case, and under each record type, under all the record types, I'm going to select inbound referral because that is coming into our organization. And all I do is you can set name conventions how you like, but let's say job training candidate, Dwight Schrute. And from here, you just fill out the different information that is needed. And let's say that they're not currently a contact. So let's search Dwight Schrute. And since he is not in our contacts, we're going to create a new contact right there. And again, it'll ask you to select a type. We'll say that he is a client. And then you can fill out his contact information here. And again, a lot of these fields can be customized to your organization's need. If you do or do not need to capture all this data, that can be customized for you. And once you are done filling out the information, you just click Save. And there we go, that contact is created and attached to this case. If you do want to capture their email, you can also write that here. If not, you don't have to. And if you do want to track which organizations have been referring your clients, then you can definitely capture that here. You can capture down to the contact and also the organization. So for organization, let's just click one of that organizations. We'll say Michael Scott referred them, and they are a candidate for the job training program. So we can select that program here. And this is assuming that you do have your programs structured out here. And currently we don't have a intake created for them. We are going to be going through the intake process here. And there we go, just like that, our inbound referral case has been opened, and we are currently working this case because we want to really make sure that they're eligible for our programs. So as you're working this case and you're, asking them more questions and have more interventions with them, you can progress them through these different statuses at the top here. And down below, you can see that these are the different details that we entered in earlier. So if you do want to create an intake record, this is where the functionality gets a little bit more robust. So now that we know that they have been referred to us, we can create an intake. And this is a separate object in which you can build out and customize for each program. So for example, let's say we started the intake process, and at the top, you can see, here's the header. Down below, we can see another intakes path status. So as you are working this intake, you progress them through these different stages, and these stages, again, can be customized. What's really great about this is you can customize a different intake checklist of items for each program. So for example, let's say we have a checklist specific to the job readiness program in terms of different items we need to collect or different pieces of information we need to collect. And you can see that we have 6 different checklist items here, and under each, we have different things that we need to collect from them. So let's say as you progress here, you can check off different items. And you could do this as you're, meeting with the customer, client in front of you. So you can have a laptop open, and as you're asking them questions or as they hand you documents, you can check off these different items here. Now in the larger part of the page, you can see that here's the inbound referral that is connected to them. Down below, we do have some more client information. And of course, we can edit this. So if we do want to, update any of their information, this is directly connected to their contact record. And let's say they are an adult, you can update that there. You can update their emergency contact information. Down below, any other, intake documents that you want to track within Salesforce, you can upload that here. And assessments is another thing that we can go into a little bit later, such as a job skills assessment. If you want to do a pre-assessment, and later during their program engagement, you can do during program engagements and post assessments as well. And down below, here's just a thing to track the intake result here as well. So let's say that, we have progressed them to in progress, and that we have checked off the last item in their intake checklist, and they have been approved, which is great. So we'll just select that to approved. And once they're approved, we're ready to attach them or enroll them into a program. And that's when we can create a new program engagement. But also, perhaps, during this intake meeting, Dwight has indicated that he also is struggling with some mental health issues. But what if your organization doesn't provide the services that he needs? If you do have other organizations, you can create an outbound referral, which is essentially just an inverse of that inbound referral case object. You can create an outbound referral and refer him out to another organization, which is great. But for this purpose, let's create a new program engagement. We should save before we go ahead. Let's create this new program engagement here. And let's attach him to the job training. If there is a specific cohort you want to attach him to, you can do that. As a role, he will be a client in this program, and he is currently enrolled. If you click enrolled, it'll automatically set the start date to the current day if you do not fill this out. So let's say, today, Tuesday, June 29th, he did start that there. You can click save. And down below, you can see a new program engagement was created. And again, these naming conventions, this is just a random number, but in my other org, you could see that we had a specified naming convention that was automated, and you can do that here. So this program engagement record, we kind of already went over this in the program management demo, so I won't go into that too deep here. So now let's take a look at Dwight as a client in your organization now that he's gone through the intake process and been approved for a program. So when we go to Dwight's contact, we can see that we have his basic contact information, his age, and also what's really important is critical client alerts here. These client alerts are really useful for, when you want to basically alert other employees of, different, different things that they should know. For example, you saw that there was an incident earlier that there was a peanut allergy. Perhaps you can let them know that Dwight has a peanut allergy here, and that's something you can do as well. All right, down below, you can see that there is program engagement. You can see that he is enrolled in one of our programs. These other tabs here are really cool because this is where you can create a case plan, which is essentially an action plan or goal plan for Dwight as he progresses through a specific program. So let's create a case plan for him. So let's say Dwight S job training case plan. Make sure to fill that out there. You can see that there is a description put in. And then once you click next, you'll select programs that he is attached to. So we'll see that right now he's only attached to job training, and you can click next there. And under each case plan and under each program, basically, you can set specific goals that you want them to accomplish while they're in this program. So let's say right now, his specific goals are to grow his virtual job interview skills as after the pandemic, since everything is on Zoom now. We want him to complete some mock interviews, get a job readiness coach, and identify some potential job titles. So those are some goals within job training. And then under each goal, you can also set different action items to achieve that goal. So for example, under virtual job interview skills, the action item is attend a job interview skills workshop. And these can be again customized to how you like. So we'll set some other different action items as steps to achieve these goals. We'll click next. It'll ask you to review the case plan. And you can see that down here. And once you're done, you can click save. And then I believe I'll just refresh this. And as you can see here, we have created a case plan for Dwight under the job training program here. So now let's say as he progresses through the program, we can then actually complete and check off these different action items. So for example, let's say one of the first things that he gets done is get a job readiness coach. Since that is the only item under there, you can update the status to completed, and it will show that right at the bottom here that it's completed. And we go through, identify potential job titles during that meeting as well. You can update the action item there underneath that. So let's say, currently that is completed as well. If you want other action items, you can also add any as well. You can set a due date, and then let's say that's currently in progress. And you can assign it to a specific contact as well if you like. For this purposes, we'll just click save, and we can see that, this is 1 out of 2 action items complete. And when that's dropped down, we'll see that, the first action item is in progress, but the job title research is completed there. And this is really powerful because this way you can really track a client's progress as they progress through your program. And again, if you do need to add any more goals that is unique to this client, you can start from scratch, or you can actually just add on to the current case plan and create a different goal. Add some action items here. And save there. And those are case plans. Now we'll navigate back to Dwight's contact record. And on his contact record, you can now see the built out case plan that we have, that we just created here, and the different goals underneath. What's great is that you can see the different progress statuses underneath each one as well. Now, in terms of tracking interactions with each client, that will be done typically through, case notes, and that can be tracked and attached directly to this client through notes. So what you can do on the right-hand side here is create a new note. And under record type, let's say, this is under the job readiness. We can title the note, first intervention. And down below, you can attach this to the client, set the whatever date you like, set the type of interaction. Let's say this was an in-person meeting. And we could talk about the different program engagement that he has. And again, in my other demo org, the naming convention was a little bit more clear than this random set of numbers. But this is the specific program engagement that connects Dwight Schrute with the job training program there. And what you can do here is create tags. And what that does is you can automatically filter, you can search different tags under your case notes if you are, managing multiple clients here. Sorry, that's for under search for tags. And we can see that, we have one case note for Dwight Schrute and another one for Joe Williams here. What's really great about this is it automatically saves as a draft. So, while you're meeting with them, you can spend a little bit more time with them and jot down notes as you talk to them, and then revisit this after and mark it as a non-draft. So as you can see on the left-hand side here, this first intervention is not a draft, but when it is checked, it goes back to draft. And again, we can relate this to different records. So let's say this is related to that case plan that we just created. Now that relationship is made. And down below, you could see that this is related to that case plan or action plan that we created earlier. So again, this is very powerful because all this data that you're capturing can be reported on. And it is, keeping it in a central place that is easy to navigate within Salesforce. Now navigating back to Dwight's contact record, let's talk about assessments. So let's say we have an assessment during the middle of a program, a job skills assessment, essentially. We can click new assessment. And we'll say, we'll have a job assessment for them. And this is where you can really, quantify Dwight's progress through a program, and you can track that with metrics that you choose. So we fill out the assessment name, client, completed date. If you want to attach this to an intake, so if you need to do a pre-assessment, you can. Also, you can attach to the engagement. And down below under assessment scores, again, these fields can be tailored to however your organization needs. So we can give them a quantified score for interview skills. So let's say they got 10 or maybe 100. Overall job score is maybe an 80. And let's say, a total score is, again, 180 there. Let's say that Dwight is making great progress. Add any comments how you like. And once you create that assessment, it automatically graphs that for you. So for example, since we only do have one assessment in, it'll just plot the graph as single plot points here. But again, as you create more assessments, you can track that throughout whatever timeline you choose within your start dates and end dates here. And this is really how you can quantify and track the progress within your program. All right, so let's say, for example, we had an incident with Dwight. Again, what we can do is create an incident record. And once we create that incident record, what it does is create a case record with a type as incident, and that will be tracked on the right-hand side here. You'll see that there's an incident attached to Dwight. So let's go ahead and do that now. And again, it will ask you to fill out some fields however you please. So you can select the different incident types, and this can be tailored again. So since it may not be in any of these, we'll select other. If you're tracking locations by accounts, you can select that here. But I just like to put location notes. It's pretty high severity, and it's over now, so we'll say it's closed. You can add another description if you like. Once you click save and refresh, we'll be able to see the incident down below here. And that was an allergic reaction incident there. And as you may have remembered about these critical client alerts, that is actually another record basically that you can create. So under the related tab, you can see that there is client alerts. Now that there is an incident that he had an allergic reaction, we can create a new client alert here. Client alert is peanut allergy. Do not give foods containing peanuts. And you can click save and then refresh. And it updates right there with the critical client alerts. One other thing I do want to call out let's say under details. And again, all of these tabs and this layout can be customized. So we can have the landing page when you navigate to this record, land on the details tab instead of any other tab. But for example, let's say that Dwight Schrute has had some behavioral issues or some other issues that require attention in which we need to, flag this content or flag this contact so that other people know that maybe he's on some sort of watch list. Perhaps there's a restraining order or whatnot. But what we can do is down below, there's a watch list checkbox. And once you check that, it actually updates the contact at the top there and adds a little, watch icon binoculars icon to make sure that they're added to the watch list there. And again, as they progress through the different programs, As you saw in the program management demo, you can attach them as participants in a service or a specific service session, attach them to a schedule, and you can track, specific program details about this client on there as well. But this was the general gist of the case management. Thank you for listening, and hopefully talk to you soon. Goodbye.